What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got another TMNT collection for you today. But first, I just want to take the time to thank my new subscribers and all the people that have been watching my videos. Really appreciate it. We finally got monetized, so pretty stoked about that. Thanks again, guys. Couldn't have done it without you. But like I said, another TMNT collection today from Ectocore. He's got some amazing prototypes and all kinds of crazy, cool TMNT stuff in his collection. So let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at it.
Hey guys, Dexter here, aka Ectocore on Instagram, aka Dexter Tattooer on Instagram and Facebook. Here to show you guys the Turtles collection today. Talk about how I got started, show off some of my favorite pieces, and explain some of my prototypes. Big thanks to Shellback Toy Line for asking me to do this. Let's get started. So let's start at the beginning here. This is me, 1990, 1991, Christmas Day. Got my Ghostbusters Firehouse and my Ghostbusters Egon. Also the same year I got my Party Wagon and Technodrome. I don't look super stoked in the photo, but I definitely was. When I found this photo, the memory of having this picture frame up here on the TV came back to me. It was all four turtles with an additional fifth turtle that my mom had cut one of my school pictures out and put my picture over the face of the fifth turtle. I couldn't remember who made it or where it came from, and with a homie's help on Instagram, I was able to ID it. And thanks to the Cool Kids Club on Facebook, I was able to track one down. A guy traded me for one in his personal collection. Super stoked. It's just some random novelty item made by the same company that does the Christmas stockings and the Christmas ornaments. And another photo of me, probably 1992 or 3, with my Krang Android body. I assume it's around Christmas, maybe Christmas Eve. I actually look very stoked in this photo. But if you look in the background, you can even see the turtle cut back there from the cereal. Here's the Ninja Turtles production section over here. It all started with nostalgia, getting the figures I had as a kid. Mainly mocks and sealed box stuff. Because of space, I don't have all my production stuff on display, but these are most of my favorites. A sewer lair, Technodrome, Mutant module, and my Ooze retail display with some sealed cans, some empty cans. Probably my favorite piece over here is the Hills department store shelf talker. This really checks every box for me. If you're from the Northeast, and especially here in Pittsburgh, Hills was the spot for the toys in the 80s and 90s. The shelf talkers would sit on the edge of the shelves in their turtle section. I got it graded, which initially I thought, who would grade a shelf talker? It seems unnecessary. And graded stuff isn't really typically my jam, but the acrylic display is super nice and I really love the way it looks cased up. Once I got all my childhood toys from the vintage line, I also took the task of completing some other lines and getting some of the cool stuff I didn't have when I was a kid, like Scratch and other figures. Getting some of the novelty items, bootlegs, store displays. In the middle of the room here, I have another Fabricor with some of my 2D pre-production prototype items and a couple 3D. Some proof cards. Some original portfolio photos. This is of the Pizza Face hard copy and the Pizza Face painted hard copy that's actually in my collection. Original Pizza Face sketch there. Some more Pizza Face sketches. portfolio photos. That is the sculpt of Baxter. And over here is the original sculpt of Shredder. In the middle here I have Scott Hensey's promo watch given to him by Playmates. Some photos. This is a Polaroid of a prototype mock-up for a bike. Some Pantone resin chips here. These would be used to determine what color to make the figures, the production figures, what color plastic to use. That one I've actually matched up to the Mutations canned color. Here are some photograph slides that would be used for the packaging. These are Mutations. Mutations foot right there. Over here I have kind of like a proof sheet of Tattoos stickers. So this is obviously bigger than production, but also the layout's a little bit different than production as well. And down here in the middle I actually have, it is technically a 3D prototype, but this is a packaging sample for Pizza Face. It's on a Rat King card, and the bubble is completely different than production. So the mock-ups would be used just to see how the accessories kind of set in the bubble and how the figure sits in relationship to the card art. So after I got all the production figures that I wanted as a kid and finished the lines that I was collecting of production items, including Ninja Turtles, I pivoted to focusing only on prototypes. So here is the current Ninja Turtles 3D prototype shelf. Not everything is out on display here, but everything that'll fit comfortably on this shelf. These are all vintage prototypes. Got resin hard copies, painted resin hard copies, some first shots, engineering pilots, a proto mold hard copy there of the Mutations RAF. And actually these are really cool. These are first shot Mutations soup cans. And you can see the label says Calumet on it. That actually matches the back of the packaging. When these were photographed for the packaging, they had the Calumet labels, but the ones that we got for production said Turtle Soup. So those labels actually match the ones on the back of the packaging. In the middle of the room here, I have some of my shippers on display. These are the shipping boxes that Playmates would send the figures to the stores in. Got a Toon Turtles one here that was shipped to Target in California. I have a Movie Stars shipper here, and then two of the basic assortment ones. This one went to a Walmart, and I believe this one went to a KB Toys. In between my Billy bookcases, I have my Movie 1 VHS store display complete. Speaking of store displays, here's one of my VHS store displays. This is for The Secret of the Ooze. It is incomplete, it's missing a few parts, but still displays really nicely over here. And on this side of the room I have some fabric cores with some of the loose figures that I've collected over the years. Like I said, I'm not much of a loose figure collector, but I got a cool little bootleg Krang over here, bootleg Pizza Face, and up front there I have a signed RAF from Steve Varner of Varner Studios. Varner Studios is one of the sculpting houses that sculpted the turtles. So I pulled some of the prototypes out of the cases to help explain the process of how these vintage figures got made. Oftentimes, everything would start with a sketch. Here is an early sketch of the pizza face figure. From these sketches, the sculptors would make rough clays. Once the rough clay was finalized, a casting would be made in wax. This is a wax torso for Batman. I actually don't have a Turtles wax out for an example. But you can see the wax would get all the details. Since these wax sculpts are so fragile, a silicone mold would be created of the wax. And then resin would get poured into these molds to create hard copies. Some hard copies would be painted, like this pizza face. You can see the darker resin in there. And these painted hard copies would be used for packaging photography, and some would get sent to the factories in China for paint application reference. So if you ever wonder why the back of the packaging, the figures don't necessarily always match up to what you're getting in the stores, oftentimes they were deco masters or painted hard copy models that were photographed for the packaging. Here's a hard copy from Varner Studios of the movie star foot soldier. You can see the pins there. Varner seemed to use a lighter color resin than anaglyph. This anaglyph resin is much darker. Here's a pizza face hard copy shield. And a hard copy of the unproduced pizza face belt. From those hard copies, the factories in China would make steel molds and begin production. First, they would do test shots or first shots. Oftentimes, they'd be in non-production colors. They would just run whatever plastic was in the machine at the time. And you can see this Bebop is obviously non-production colors. Pretty cool because he has some factory writing on the side. Also, some first shots or test shots were not sonic welded, so they actually come apart. If I took this rubber band off, this Vernon would come apart. And from there, the next step would be engineering pilots. And this is pretty close to production. This Raph's actually pretty cool because you can see he was purple at one time. So these parts may have been for Dawn. The color is slightly off, and also his spots are very off. Looks like he has some sort of skin condition. But it's still pretty close to production. And this would be the last step to kind of see the functionality in the paint applications and get approval for that. While that's going on, the packaging art was created. Proof cards are made. Here's a Casey proof card. And then lastly, there would be carded mock-ups. This pizza face, like I said before, is on a Rat King card. And also the bubble is very different from production. But these would be used to kind of see how the figure lays in reference to the card art and how the accessories kind of set in the bubble. And once that's approved, the production figures start rolling, and we were buying them.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Wasn't that collection amazing? Thank you again to Ectocore. Absolutely incredible. And thank you for taking the time to explain that whole process of making the action figures that we all know and love. So jealous of that collection. Just absolutely incredible. But again, if anybody out there is wanting to have their TMNT collection showcased, hit me up on Instagram, shellback_toy_rewind, and let me know. And maybe you could have your TMNT collection featured on Shellback Toy Rewind. So, but yeah, if you like this video, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and hit that notification bell. And that way YouTube will let you know when I drop my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.